back to my channel. So in today's tutorial we are going to hopefully get our little fox finished. So we're going to finish the neck, especially here we need to make this look more natural. Got a few little details to add, like we need to darken this ear just to make it look like it is behind some of the fur, and obviously add the whiskers. So let's get going. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brown ochre. Just going to start bringing some of that colour in over this grey fur. And I'm also going to take my sanguine. Again, just do like we just did with that brown ochre. Just bring some of that over that white fur. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my ivory, go over that orange fur, I guess, with the ivory. Just making sure I've got another base laid down, and then I'm just going to take my slice tool and just slice away some of that fur. Okay, then taking the warm grey too, and I'm just gonna, actually we think we need the warm grey for so the warm grey for, but very light pressure, and I'm just going to create some shadows so it looks like we've got little clumps of fur going across this neck. See, very light pressure. I'm not pressing hard at all, and I'm going to blend out here as well, just a little bit more. And then I'll go over that with a warm grey too, just to soften it down. I'm going to take that warm grey 5, so we've got some darker bits of fur here, just need to blend them outwards. Okay, right, let's get our warm grey one now, and I'm just gonna bring our white fur further down our fox's neck. And I'm going to do like a circular edge, so a curved edge to the neck of this fox. And this is a style that I do a lot in my artwork. I give them all curved bottoms. Unless I'm specifically asked for a straight edge, they generally get a nice curved, rounded edge. So you're just going to bring that white, or the warm grey one, sorry, down, and as we're coming around, just going to use lighter pressure, and this is where you're going to start to get a faded, rounded edge. So I'm just going to map in where I want this faded edge. So it's all going to fade out, but we're going to get a nice rounded neck. Again, I'm just going to bring that. I'm looking constantly at the fur direction. Just going to lighten this bit of graphite up here. And yeah, this is all going to be the warm grey one. So again, I'm just going to make sure you are using a sharp pencil. Okay, so I'm just going to fade out, get some nice soft edges. Oops, along the edge of our fox's neck as well. And again, I'm making sure that it's fading as I come down here, because I'm going to get that nice faded neckline. So I'm going to bring it around here. So this is where my fade is kind of starting. And then hopefully it'll all make sense once we get down to it and we start building detail and fading everything outwards. This is also like another way of you doing your drawings. Instead of straight edges or just a straight faded edge, we can create a little rounded edge. Just going to bring that round a bit more and just blend. So I'm using a bit of a longer stroke for these faded edges. I can't believe how quick this piece has been. I haven't quite decided yet. Well, obviously I'm pre-filming this, so you will, if you're in the Facebook group, you will already know what we're gonna do. We'll either have another wildlife tutorial just straight away, or a couple of focus tutorials. We'll see. Right, so got the base laid down for our warm grey wool. Now we need to start building up some of the colour. So I'm going to start off with the burnt umber. And I'm using the burnt umber because I've got a bit of a brownish tone in this neck. Very light pressure, and I'm just going to start building up the fur. Now remember, as we come down this neck, it's going to start to fade out. This burnt umber doesn't come all the way down. But we're just keeping it in mind that this neck is going to start to fade. Okay, so that's the burnt umber. Over the top of that, I've now got the Nougat. And I'm going to do the Nougat along this side of the neck. And a little bit along this side as well. I may bring that burnt umber over the top of this yet, but I just want to bring this Nougat in. Okay, I've now got the Ochre 4, and I'm just going to bring this in over the top of that Nougat. And you can see I'm following that fur direction. I'm using light pressure. You can see just how light this part of the neck is. Not pressing hard at all. And I'm just building up the colours. Okay, and then going to the warm grey 4. Just start to blend. So I'm only working on this middle section and the right hand side of the neck. We will have to blend here, but remember we've got that grass stalk. So we have to kind of work it out ourselves. So I'm using those V shapes again, leaving gaps in between to create these big clumps of fur. Sorry, I just sharpened it. So I'm making sure I've got a sharp pencil. There we go. Some nice V shapes. Now, as I come down this neck, I'm going to be fading this colour out. So I'm just going to kind of bring it in very lightly. I'm not going to press hard, just lightly. Just building up that colour. So it's kind of the warm grey 4 is then fading outwards. And then I'm going to bring it around this side of the neck. Again, just doing those little V's, little clumps of fur. So this is, we're building up the shadows. That's all we're doing, building up some shadows. See, I'm being quite loose as well with my pencil strokes. I'm not worried about them being accurate to the reference photo. So long as they're going in the correct direction, it's okay. And again, I'm just going to start to fade the colour down here. Okay, I'm going back to the burnt umber. Bring it in. So bring it down this neck. And back. Okay, and then I'm going to go over that with a warm grey 2. Remember, this is all about just building up layers, lots and lots of layers. You can see we've got a nice depth to our fur already, so that's just all we're trying to keep, that nice depth of fur. And again, just fade it out at the bottom. Okay, right, just going back to my warm grey 4. Just gonna come along here a little bit. Okay, so I can see that this side of the fur is quite light. And it also has kind of a yellowish tone. So I'm actually going to take my gold. And I'm going to take my gold along the edge. So I'm just going to build up almost another base layer of the gold. Again, it's going to fade out here, so I'm just making sure very light pressure. You can see you got the nice curve to the neck. Okay, then the warm grey 3. So I'm going to use where that grass stalk is, I'm going to use the warm grey 3. And that, and then take the warm grey 1 over the top. You see it's just smoothing this all out, giving it a nice blend. Take that warm grey 3 again. And the warm grey 4. Just some details, and remembering to use those V shapes to create those little clumps and clusters. Again, I'm very lightly with the warm grey 4 as I come out here, just to blend. Okay, so I'm going to go take my Ivory, blend it outwards here where it's going to fade, and here's going to be the base layer. Okay, just going over that. Right, I'm going to take the cinnamon. So with the cinnamon, again following that fur direction and fading out these edges. So lighter pressure where we want it to be nice and light. Okay, I'm going to take the light yellow ochre, very lightly. I don't want this to be overpowering. And then the burnt ochre. And again, remember to come over this grey fur. Okay, and then back in with the cinnamon. And I'm actually going to take my warm grey 2 over the top here. Again, fading out there. But this area of fur gets quite, it's quite out of focus, so I'm not worried too much about details. I'm just going to blend that here. Okay, I'm going to get my warm grey 1 again. Just start to get a nice edge. So with this edge, it's just tapering those pencil strokes. So lighten your pressure on the paper, lighten it as you're bringing that pencil towards you. And that'll give you that tapered look to the fur. Okay, and then I'm going to get my white, and just with the white we're going to just come down, harder pressure, and I'm just going to drag that colour down and bring the white further down than where we've got pigment already, and that's just going to add to this faded edge really nicely. I'm just going to bring some of that white. Okay, now I've got my coal grey 2, and I'm just going to bring it in here. So I'm now looking at this and seeing what I want to improve on my drawing. So coal grey 2. And I'm just going to bring in the terracotta. Hang on, wait, that's not terracotta, that's sanguine. Terracotta. Very lightly bringing that over. Actually, do the cinnamon. I think the cinnamon would be nicer. Into that white fur. fade it out. Okay, back to the Coral Grey 2. Again, I'm going to fade downwards. And the Warm Grey 3. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my slice tool. Just take away some of that colour, that pigment. Okay. Right. Okay, just got my Warm Grey 4 again. Just in here. Gonna take the burnt umber actually. Just gonna bring that burnt umber underneath this head, slightly into that brown. Very light pressure. And then the Warm Grey 2 over the top here to blend. Blending it downwards. And then I'm going to take my gold. So I'm just starting to darken up some of this fur. Take the white, and I'm just going to bring some of the white fur. And then I can take my slice tool. Back to that burnt umber. Going up and under that fur. Always up and under, and that creates that look of that neck being above the head being above the neck, sorry. Okay, I've now got my bister, and I'm just going to start bringing this in again. Darkening up some areas. Again, I'm leaving gaps between the fur, so that all these other layers that we've already drawn in show through. Going back to my burnt ochre. Okay, now I want to get my burnt sienna again. With that burnt sienna, very lightly again, I'm just going to start to darken up areas where I need a little bit more contrast in my drawing. So this is me finishing my drawing, not too close to the reference. How do I want my finished piece to look? So when you're doing this part, if you feel your drawing doesn't need to be darker in areas, doesn't need this detail, you don't feel free not to add it in. You don't need to add it in. Okay, back to the bister. I will continue to explain what I'm doing to my piece, and all I'm doing is just building up some tones, a little bit of contrast in areas where I need a little bit more. Back to that burnt ochre. Okay, I'm just going to take that burnt sienna again. And then on top of the burnt sienna, we're going to take the green gold. And the green gold's just going to help soften this burnt sienna, blend it in nicely, create that look to the neck that I'm after. Okay, coming back up the head, I'm going to get my terracotta, and I want this to be a bit more orangey in tone. I'm just going to come in with a terracotta And then I'll go over the terracotta with a burnt ochre. I'm just going to blend that outwards as well. Okay, so we just need to darken part of the ear. So I've got my Vista, and I'm going to come, oops, let me move the camera. So I'm just coming in here and darkening behind that tuft of fur so that it looks like that this ear is behind. And take my terracotta, just adding a little bit more depth there, and the burnt ochre. Like so. Okay, that looks better. Back to the burnt umber. I'm just gonna, again, make sure that this looks really blended together. That's better. Okay. Where else do I feel it needs something? Okay, I feel like I need to add something above this eye. So I'm going to take my brown ochre. I'm just going to bring this in along here. And then I'm just going to take my burnt ochre again, just blend in there. Okay, so I'm going to take my gold. Just going to darken along here ever so slightly. And then my burnt ochre again, just to help with that blend between the two areas. Okay, I'm happier with that. Just get the cinnamon. Again, I'm just getting that nice little bit of colour onto the fur. And then I'm going to take my warm grey 2. Oh, that's not warm grey 2. That's warm grey 2. Over the top. And then I can take my slice tool and just take away some colour to help blend a little bit more there. Okay, right, we need to add some definition here as well. So I'm going to take my gold again, but very lightly. I'm just going to curve this up the face. Okay, and then my warm grey 2, very lightly, because that's added some nice detail in there, up there. And again, the warm grey 2, I'm just going to bring in some detail. We're going to bring those whiskers in very shortly. Back to the gold, just very lightly. I'm not pressing hard with this gold, doing it very, very lightly. Okay, and then I'm just going to go over that again with the warm grey 2. Right, let's have a look. The burnt sienna, just need to bring this down here. Very light, you can see I'm pressing very lightly. I'm just going to blend that out a little bit more. And the cinnamon under the eye. Okay, am I happier with this? Is there much I want to change? Just that mouth. Right, so going to take my dark sepia. Okay, so I'm just going to really define this line. And to do that, I'm just bringing the dark sepia along this mouth and darkening the top edge so it's light pressure and creating a stronger edge. Where I need it. Okay, and then on the top of that tooth, I'm going to take the warm grey 3. No, I'm going to take the Nougat, and I just want to darken that edge there and blend it downwards, and then take the white for that tooth, and then underneath the tooth we have some of the dark sepia. So very lightly, you don't want to outline the tooth, but you want it the fur to create that outline. So I'm doing this with the dark sepia, and then just creating some of those dark little spots that are going on. And the warm grey free. Again, just going to bring that down. And then I can take the warm grey one and blend that dark sepia so it all looks natural. Take a bit of the warm grey free and just blend up into here. Okay, right, we got whiskers. So just going to bring some of these whisker points in again. Okay, so we've got a whisker coming from here and it's coming round to about here. So I'm just going to very lightly have a look where that curve is, and it's coming down. So I've drawn that curve in, and then I'm going to use light pressure, but I'm just going to keep that whisker flowing into there. And then we've got a whisker coming here. So I'm just lifting the pencil off the paper towards the edge, that whisker, and that'll create that tapered edge to your whiskers. So we've got some spots that need to come down here a bit more, so you can add them in with a dark sepia. And then that whisker comes here and it goes around there and down. Now remember, these don't need to be accurate to the reference photo. Nobody's going to see the reference photo, we're just adding in those whiskers. Okay, and then going to take the warm grey 2. I'm just going to soften off these edges along here where we haven't done that already. And then I'm going to take the warm grey 4, just darken that little bit of muzzle area. And my dark sepia to darken here. Blend that outwards. And I'm also just going to take my dark sepia along this eye just to really darken those darks, which is mainly the edge of this eye. Okay, right, let me have a look at our little fox. Am I happy with this? And I think I am. I don't think there's much else I can add. I can add some little longer white fur strokes in here with the slice tool, but not necessary. Let's zoom out. So this is what our fox looks like, and I'm happy with that. It is just the neck and head. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I've had a lot of fun drawing it. Actually, I've just noticed a bit I want to change there to make this ear look separate. So I'm going to take the Vista. I'm going to zoom you back into the ear. Okay, I've just noticed this part of the ear that I need to do. So just going to take the Vista and bring it up here. And then I'm going to take the brown ochre again, making sure that that goes behind and under. Back to the Vista, behind and under, gently blending it out into here. It's going to go behind that fur there as well. And I'm just going to take my cinnamon. Okay. Just got the green gold. I'm just going to fade that outwards down here, down the side of this head a little bit more. And I'm going to go over that very, very lightly with the Bister. I'm not pressing hard, just lightly. Just creating some depth. Okay, that looks a lot better now. Have I missed anywhere else? So I'm just going to get that a bit more orangey. So get my terracotta. I'm just going to bring this in a bit more of an orange tone. Along here and up this side of the ear. And the burnt ochre. Okay, right, I'm just going to darken this whisker up a little bit more. I'm just very gently going over the top of those whiskers. Okay, and there we have it. We have finished our little fox. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I've really enjoyed drawing our fox. Definitely will draw more in the future. If you've got any questions, don't forget you can leave them down below. I will get back to you, and I will see you all in the next tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye everybody.